Thank you. Thank you, Scott, so much. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone I've met today. Many people, I won't remember your names, but I remember you, and I remember your faces. And I have to say that today has been a very powerful day for me. McLean, you know, somebody got in touch with me and said, McLean wants to honor you. I was like, cool. I've never been honored before. But I really realized today the power of what that means to me. It's so powerful to be in a place, in a room, with people who share much of my story. I don't think my story is unique. You know, I've written books and I talk to people, and I really don't think that what I've gone through is that unique. But to be in a room where people understand you, really understand you, and really understand this word stigma, and really understand the pain of losing a loved one or dealing with a loved one that is not balanced, or even dealing themselves with their own imbalances as we just try to negotiate a difficult world. Because it's not an easy world that we live in. You know, regardless of whether you have a mental illness, our society is very, very tough on us. And what I learned today by being at the McLean Institute or the hospital, what I saw was unbelievable holistic viewpoint on this issue, on these different illnesses. Because it's not just one thing. I think what's been powerful for me is to understand that you all understand that there's many different forms of mental illness. There's many different things that get stigmatized under the umbrella of an imbalance of some kind, and that it happens in the brain. And you have such a great understanding of it. I love that it's the 200-year anniversary of this extraordinary place. Because back in 1811, there was something called, which I learned today, the moral treatment, or the moral code. And the moral code, because there were no psychotropic drugs or psychiatric help in the kind of way that we can give it today, so the only way to treat people was humanely, to make them work, to move their bodies, that they ate well, and that there was a religious component, and that it wasn't specific to any belief, but there had to be a belief system. Now, I was just so overjoyed I can't tell you, because I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to get up here and talk about things that I don't understand, but what I do understand is lifestyle. What I do understand is living a life that engulfs you with the support from what you choose to do every day of your life, what water you drink and what thoughts you think and what you do in your daily life. That's very important to me. That's been my way of dealing with a family that is unstable, albeit great and creative and wonderful. And I know that you can say the same thing about your own family members or people that have touched you with their illness, because usually they're extraordinary human beings. My grandfather was an extraordinary human being. He's one of the greatest writers of the 20th century. And he continues to be, you know, read and written about and talked about to this day. And yet he suffered tremendous mental illness. I was saying earlier that he went to the Mayo Clinic when he was suffering so deeply, and they, you know, gave him horrible shock treatment. And it wasn't the kind of shock treatment they give today. It was, you know, it was severe. It's supposed to blank out parts of your brain. And this is a man who loved to write. And the reason I think, you know, in my own little head, the reason I think that he committed suicide is that this was a man that couldn't write anymore. He started to be unable to do the very thing that he was born to do and what he was on the planet to do. And you may or may not know, Scott mentioned that I come from 7 suicides, perhaps more. You know, my grandfather, my great-grandfather on his side, My grandmother Hadley's father committed suicide. My great-uncle committed suicide. My uncle committed suicide. Another cousin that I don't know committed suicide. And then my sister committed suicide. And that's a powerful statement in a family. It says a lot. But what it doesn't say is that I'm a bad person or that my family's bad. And I think that one of the great things that I've understood today is kind of why I feel so embraced by everybody in this room, is that you'd really like me to get out there and get rid of this idea that there is a stigma and that we're bad and that we've done something wrong, or that people with mental illness are bad people and they're failed people, because they're not. And they need help and they need treatment. And McLean is absolutely an extraordinary organization. It's an extraordinary place to get treatment. I'm stunned. And I'm a bit of a yogi granola head, although I never wear Birkenstocks. I think they're ugly. Just saying. I'm all into fashion. I have always been very cautious when it comes to medication, because I have seen medication just do so much damage. And I've also seen people self-medicate in my family and really be traumatized by medication and drugs and things. So I've come from the school of yoga and lifestyle and the food that you eat and the moral code. The McLean actually based its first history on. But going beyond that, they're leaping into the future with such extraordinary research. $40 million a year goes into research at this place. That's amazing. That's amazing. And you're making a difference. And everyone that I've talked to that have had somebody who's gone through either the schools and there's so much to talk about. The fact that you're dealing with children with issues. I'm in a movie that comes out, it was made about 10 years ago. I'm like, it's coming out? Really? Okay. And they struggled because it's about suicide. And they struggled to get it viewed because people don't want to see it. It was originally called My Suicide, and now it's called Archie's Project. And it's about this kid who plans his suicide, and he talks to all the other kids that are depressed and whatever, and he comes across other suicides. And I play an absolutely horrific mother who's in complete denial about her daughter being depressed and about a son that committed suicide, and the character I play is in complete denial that it even happened. She pretends that he had a car accident. And even though the film it's very bold, this film, but it's so important to get this message out there, because kids today are suffering more than ever, much more so, I think, than any other time. Or maybe it's just because we're able to talk about it and look at it, whereas we couldn't do that before. So I think it's a powerful film, so if it comes in your neighborhood, it probably won't. Go on Facebook, say you like it. Or me. But it is so important, and I just was so excited by all that I saw today, that you're dealing with, children, and then there's a school for kids that aren't even, they're not necessarily mentally ill, but they're, they suffer from anxiety and too much stress. Because the school systems in our country do not support children who are different. So I was just overwhelmed by the extraordinary work that's being done here. And your support is so beautiful. I've spent a lifetime sort of trying to orchestrate my life so I wouldn't go crazy. I never felt like I was going to go crazy, but I have suffered from depression, and it's no fun. And that's what really led me to leading a lifestyle that I thought would help me and prevent me from getting sick. My mother had cancer, my father had heart disease, all the people in my family with the mental illness. There was diabetes. There were so many things that I just thought, I don't want to be a part of that, and I'm going to lead this healthy life. It meant that I followed a lot of weird things. I've eaten every way. I've been macrobiotic, I've been vegan, I've been all raw. Ooh, that was a stinky year. I've done a lot of strange things on this journey to be healthy. And now, you're having your 200th anniversary, and I'm having my 50th birthday on Tuesday. I don't know why that's making me cry. Because it's taken this long. It's taken this long for me to be able to say that I'm okay and that I love myself and that the journey I've been on has been worthwhile. And it's taken this long for me to be able to say, I've had my journey with worrying about that. It's now time for me to step into the shoes of helping other people with this journey. To understanding people with mental illness, to understanding suicide, or maybe to help people understand that there's no understanding suicide. We had a support group today, and that's just, it's so random. People never really know. My sister committed suicide, and she just wasn't the person that was supposed to commit suicide. My eldest sister, who suffers from schizophrenia and bipolar and the whole 9 yards of crazy, she was supposed to commit suicide. I kept saying on the phone when they called, because they called my dad's house and I answered the phone, I said, no, 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 you mean my sister Muffet. Like, no, Margot, no, 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 you really mean my sister Muffet, you've got it wrong. Mental illness is so unsuspecting, it's so secretive, it's so difficult. But I think together, with our ability to be open and compassionate and loving towards ourselves and those around us, we can really do some extraordinary things in this country, and you're certainly doing it in this room, every one of you. I can feel it. I can feel that you're making a difference. Just being here, even if you're just supporting, if you're just a trustee, whatever it is, if you're somebody with a friend or a family member, whatever it is, your energy and your compassion is what will change this issue so that it can be the forefront and people can get away from being so fearful. Because I was fearful my whole life. And I can honestly say, now, almost 50, I've got 2 more days, that I'm not afraid anymore. And that's an extraordinary thing. And I really feel today, thank you, where are you, Scott? There you are. Thank you, Scott, he really sort of embraced, he said, we'd love to do something with you. And I really thought, wow. To really embrace my sort of idea of living a healthy lifestyle and doing yoga and getting out in the out of doors. I have this company called The Willing Way, which is my partner, Bobby Williams, and my last name put together, The Willing Way. He has the will, I have the way. Yes, it's second, but it's far more important. And I thought, wow, what an wonderful combination of really, I get back to what I first said, there's this holistic view here. You're really seeing that lifestyle makes a difference. You're really seeing that we can work together to create a plan that can change people's lives. Because in the video it was said, you know, really what we're here to do is change the quality, to better the quality of these people who are suffering lives. And I mean, I had the fantasy today of my own sister being able to come here. She's in Idaho in a tiny little town and lives in a home with a wonderful woman who's extraordinary and loving and kind and, you know, really embraces her, but she's having no care, really. She's a lovely human being who deserves more. And I saw, wow, the possibility of that, along with what I do, and to be able to share that with others. And for me to be able to be more of a spokesperson, to really get it out there, and to really say to more and more people every single day, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or getting on television or doing a documentary with the extraordinary Barbara Koppel, whatever it is, it's such an important thing to do. And I am so honored that I would be able to be in front of you and be able to talk about, really, my life. It's not separate of me. Mental illness and my family is not separate. It's a part of me. And I'm really thankful to all of you for allowing me to share it with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Mariel, for your honest and moving and open story of yourself and of your family. And while listening to it, I was struck by the comment you made that my family is not bad. And I think about the underpinnings of the stigma that we all hope to eradicate, and that is both the self-judgment and also the judgment of others. And if we can all work together in this room and beyond to suspend that type of judgment, chapters of which we can read about in Eastern religions and other texts, that by eradicating that type of judgment of self, freeing oneself to be yourself, and freeing us from the bondage of judging others, we can eliminate the stigma that is so detrimental to helping and serving the people suffering from mental illness. So for that, I'm most grateful for your inspiring words. And now I am honored to present the Maclean Award to you in recognition of your courageous efforts to promote greater understanding of mental illness, health, and wellness. You've truly inspired all of us, and we're most grateful. So if you join me on the podium, we have a little token of our appreciation. And this reads, the McLean Award presented to Mariel Hemingway with deep appreciation for your tremendous efforts in furthering the public's understanding of issues in mental health, McLean Hospital, November 19th, 2011.